Welcome to Paranormal Into the Night with your host, Dino Ewell. All things spooky, all things paranormal. Get set, get spooked.
Hello everybody, welcome to Paranormal Into the Night. I am Dino Ewell, I'm your host. Where can you get us? We're at www.pitnradionetwork.com. You could find us on our Facebook group, Paranormal Into the Night. Also, subscribe to us on iTunes. Just do a quick search in your iTunes Apple Store for Paranormal Into the Night, and you will get an update every time a new show gets uploaded. So very cool. And follow us on Spreaker. PITN Radio Network on Spreaker. So all that good stuff. What else can I say here? I like to say we are a donation station. I'm going to throw this out there. If anybody wants to help out, in the upper right hand corner on the website, there's a little PayPal button. Any little bit would help keep us going, help us get some adverts out there, stuff like that. And Wednesdays, we got Voices Carry Radio Show with Terry Todd and Amy Farley, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. They go for about 2 hours, and it's a really cool show. I just had fun chatting last night with Amy Farley and her sister Amber Kirk, which was really, really fun. So, and when I get on with those two girls, I kind of goof around a little bit. It's actually really, really fun. And Facebook Live. I started doing this a couple shows back. In addition to everywhere else you can get us on Spreaker, iTunes, YouTube. Subscribe there too. I also stream live on Facebook. So we get a lot of people watching on Facebook too. So it's very, very cool. And what can I do? I can introduce the guest. We're going to have Wendy Lucero. And who is she? She is a psychic medium, a spiritual teacher, paranormal investigator. She teaches psychic development and mentors students in paranormal investigations on soul rescue. Very interesting, very interesting. And there's a question I'm going to ask her too here. I think I'm going to start off with once I introduce her. And she's also an author. Her book is Beyond the Storm. It's her debut novel. And again, Matt Zemo, Kathy, everybody in Facebook Live watching me, you guys really get there. We get lots of views and hits on Facebook Live. I appreciate you guys doing it. Anybody who can share, there's a Twitter little thing, or to tweet on chat and everywhere else. Share. Anyways, let me get back to Wendy Lucero. Wendy, are you there?
I am here, Dino.
Oh, thank you so much for coming on with me. I appreciate it so much.
I appreciate you having me.
No problem. Like we were talking earlier, I caught you as you joined my Paranormal Into the Night Facebook group. And I said, you know what? She sounds like somebody I have to have on. And with your book and all that there, I said, let's do it. So I got a hold of you. You said, sure will. And unfortunately, your dog got sick. When was the show? Last week. Oh my God, I can't even get my...
Yeah, last Friday.
Yeah, and you have a little Italian greyhound, and she came down with a pneumonia. And
yes.
Thank God she's doing good.
Yep.
Girl or boy?
It's a boy. He's all better.
Okay, every time you tell me if there's a reason why I do this. Every time I talk about animals, cat or dog. If it's a girl, I say he. If it's a boy, I always say she. Is there a reason why? Am I dyslexic somehow in the sexes of animals? I have no idea.
You might be.
Isn't that funny? I mean, I swear, my whole life I've always done that, and
that's funny.
And I catch myself afterwards and go, "What am I doing? She's a girl. Why am I saying he?" But anyways, totally off topic. But thank you so much. I'm glad he's doing better. Caught myself.
Thank you.
And glad you were able to come on and reschedule. So, and Terry in the chat, hello there, buddy. Nice to see you. And first question, we are going to talk about a lot of different subjects. Like I said, You are a psychic medium, spiritual teacher. We'll get into all that good stuff. Halloween, like you said, it's coming up very soon. People love all this stuff. Your book, Beyond the Storm, your debut novel. I'd love to get into that very soon. But the first question I'm going to hit you with is, you are a member of the largest psychic development group in the world. And I'd like to know a little bit about that, what it is, what it's all about, and how you got involved with that.
And what that is for some reason, Denver, Colorado is huge with psychic development classes and schools. I mean, we have Boulder, which, Boulder is kind of that kind of town anyway. But we actually, our school and group, when we were tracking it with London, we were larger than the UK in Denver, Colorado. So that's why we would laugh and say we're the largest psychic medium, psychic development group. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of where that came from. But I do teach for another group that's very popular in Denver as well. So that's kind of how we got there.
Okay, because I was going to say the biggest, largest. Well, you kind of explained it there now, but I mean, you're definitely a true gifted psychic medium. Is this something that you had to work with, or did it just you've always had this ability?
Truthfully, everybody kind of has abilities.
Right.
But it's just what you're open. If you open yourself up to understanding what that could be. Mm-hmm. And, it's like anything. It's like learning a foreign language or playing the piano. You have to practice. And you can't just read every book out there like I did in the beginning. When I knew I had some weird abilities, I just didn't understand it. Mm-hmm. So I did go to school. I went to school for 4 years to learn how to basically what my gifts were, what my strengths were. I was tested, advanced testing. So that's why I became a teacher. So now I can teach all the beginners coming up in the world how to do what I do, because it's very important. Okay.
So, I mean, what you're saying is everybody can hone in their ability. I mean, not everybody, but...
almost.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, almost everybody. I mean... we can talk about that too, like, the things that you would have to do or know in order to become a medium or become psychic or hone in on your skills, because that's what we teach. So, yeah, we can go over that too.
Okay, yeah. And is that part of the development group with where you mentor the students, the Soul Rescue?
Yeah, I work for Soul Path Insights, and what they do is they work with people all over the world. There's online classes, and we have retreats in Denver. There's in-person classes, but you have to become a member and pay a monthly fee, and then you're allowed to, connect to all the online classes, and they're throughout the day and then the evening. So yeah, I'm part of that group.
Okay. So you got to pay in order to, and I'm not putting that down at all. I mean, everything's got to be funded one way or the other.
Yeah.
But you definitely have to. It's like a true school where you have to pay like a tuition or something to get in, huh?
Right. Well, and people gain certificates, so they do earn that by the time they're finished. They'll have a nice certificate to prove that they did go to school for this, like I did.
Okay. And once everybody graduates, are they able to like really connect with the other side? And
they should. Well, we kind of put them through intensive training during school, okay, I guess, and mm-hmm. they work with each other, and mm-hmm. it's a safe, fun place. And basically, when they're done, they should be comfortable enough to do it professionally. Just whatever they want to do, it's up to them. It's their choice what they want to do with their life, but a lot of people are professionals and they work in the corporate world also, like I did. So, they're kind of just getting their feet wet and trying to figure out if this is what they want to do. It's not for everybody.
Okay. And the whole soul rescue thing, I mean, what, mm-hmm. technically do you feel that term, the meaning of that term?
Yeah, so soul rescue for me, when I joined a paranormal investigation team here in Denver, I became the co-lead because I was a medium. And basically what we do is we go in for evidence, of course. So we work throughout the night and gain evidence. And then at the end of the night, I do like to have like a special meeting with the spirits before I leave and let them know that I am available to help them cross over, because I don't like to completely exploit them and not help them. So that's what I call soul rescue. And it's funny because I get a lot of souls wherever I go, and they kind of follow me like I'm the Pied Piper. And
Okay.
so when I get a big enough group of them, I know it's time to sit down and focus on it and just, cross them over. So it's kind of funny. I'm kind of known for being the, soul rescue lady.
Really? Okay. So they kind of just gather around you, follow you wherever you go?
Yeah.
I mean, doesn't matter where you're at, they'll just continuously follow you, huh?
Yeah, we were in Vegas, and I had some hitchhikers from there, and we were just up in the Central City Cemetery, which was an old miners' cemetery from the 1800s.
Okay.
And I had a few of them follow me from there, and because they're not sure about you, so they're kind of like they have to watch you a little bit and figure out who you are and what you're about, and because they're still in their time and they have different beliefs a lot of times, so. I get called everything from a witch, and it's just kind of funny. So once I gain their trust, and I'm not there to trick them or anything, then they'll let me cross them over. So it's pretty funny.
Okay, but they call you names, huh? They call you call you a witch.
Sometimes, but they're not allowed in my house. They have to stay outside, and there are boundaries when you do this work. So yeah, it's not like they just invade me all the time.
Well, that's so then, they keep their own, personality when they pass over to the other side.
Oh, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
And a big question is, why do they need your help to get them to move on? I mean, I've heard everything from you've only got like a window, like 3 days before you can before that light closes. To, of course, people being confused because they've passed on. They don't know where they are. But, I mean, even the people who know that they've passed on and, like you said, are following you, how is it that they need your help to pass on to the other side and move on?
And that's a great question, and you did cover some of it. What I have found in most of what I do, the spirits who don't cross over immediately, it's either because they feel they're going to be punished. So they're set in some religious background that they grew up with, and they feel that if they've done something wrong or they've sinned, they're going to be punished. So that's part of what I counsel them about. And then if they die of an illness, like I had a little girl up in Central City, she didn't even know she was gone. She didn't understand that she had died. And that happens a lot, where they don't even know that they've passed on, if they've died in their sleep or got really sick. And so, they're kind of roaming the world, and they don't have the same time as we do. It's not the same type of thing. So they just kind of look for people, I think, who they spot people who are gifted, and they're like,
Well, see, that's what, let me jump in then. I mean, if they are so confused with, passing on and like, wow, where am I?
Right.
What do I do next? They're smart enough to find you, somebody who's gifted or something like that. Why is it that they're so confused and what is it that makes them not understand where they are, even though they show some kind of intelligence?
And I don't know what exactly makes them not understand, because I can't, I'm not in their shoes, but, all I know is that they just remain stuck to what they knew or where they were at the time of their death or whatever. Sometimes they're just waiting for others to come around. I think people they knew, like, spouses, mother, children, anything like that. They're kind of looking for that, but they're not here. So when I happen along and they know that I I guess, aware of them,
Mm-hmm.
they will just start kind of following, and then they kind of stay their distance a little bit. But they do, and I think that's how they find me. And I did ask this question with my guides that I work with on the other side. I said, how do they know to find me? And she said, because you have a certain light, and you're very bright, and it's different from what they see with other people.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's kind of like a moth to a flame. So they know to follow, and they know that, hey, this person can help you. And then my guides will step in and say, she'll help you if you want her help. And so I think they kind of, help them out, like, hey, come with us. And so it's kind of like we work. It's not just me. It's my help on the other side too. That's kind of, but I really don't know why they would stay stuck, other than a lot of them feel they're going to be punished or judged. And just because they don't know, but.
Okay, so it just depends on their religion and
exactly
just how they thought even in this world.
Yeah.
And how do they see you there? I mean, do they see the living the same as they see the other spirits that are stuck there too?
Oh yeah, they can see it all.
But just as real as we're seeing it. I mean, how do they distinguish from? You know what I'm saying? You see one solid person who's passed on and is a spirit like they are, and then you see another person like you who's still living, but you're saying is just as solid as the spirit they're seeing. So how can they distinguish one from the other?
I mean, I guess it's different dimensions. So they probably see spirits who are, maybe earthbound or on their dimension. They probably see them more clearly than they would see me. But, as far as I know, they can see me pretty clearly. And I've had encounters with, full apparitions, which is very rare to actually see a full apparition. And I saw that person clear as day. Really? So we both kind of shocked each other and went, whoa. So, I don't know. I mean, since I'm not on their dimension, I'm not quite sure. But
okay.
Yeah, I do know they see everything.
Okay, because I'm mad I can't see them on Earth in the same way, I mean, I know there are gifted people who can, or at least, maintain a contact like you do, psychic medium, which, but for them to see everything like kind of in a certain different way is kind of, I don't know, I'm trying to wrap my head around how that works, but...
Yeah, and I'm not fully, because I'm not in their shoes, it's hard to speak to that. I just have my experience. But, yeah, it's all energy work, basically, because, when you step into, say you go to somebody's house and it just feels off, it's just all energy. I mean, we read energy every day and we don't even realize it. So that's kind of how they approach us too. They're like trying to read our energy. I'm trying to read theirs, to figure out if they're good or bad. And so, I know that's how that works.
Well, you say everybody can, learn to communicate with the other side. Is there a certain, like people use Ouija boards, certain devices, something. I mean, you just basically can sit there and reach out to them in kind of a state, or is this a nonstop speaking with the other side? How does that work with you?
Yeah, no, I mean, basically you have to quiet your mind. You can't be stressed out or emotional at all. And I'm not on all the time. Mediums really aren't on like you see on TV. I have
really?
boundaries. So, yeah,
okay.
I'm definitely not on. But it takes some meditation. And then I just kind of let them connect with me. And I'm like, if there's any messages, please come close to me and let me know what's going on or what you want to talk about. Or share your story before crossing over. And they do. So, that's how I connect. But it does take practice because a lot of people will think it's their own mind talking to them, which a lot of people call their inner voice. But, yeah, we basically, mediums hear or feel a message and pass it on that way. But yeah, your intention as a medium should always be from a place of love. You should never want to try to con people or,
right.
There's some people out there that do that. There's good and bad in every profession. And
Really?
This one's no different.
That's interesting.
So,
there really is
yeah,
good and bad. No, I'm
it
joking.
is.
Oh, yeah. And you know what? I mean, the field has kind of, blown up with how many are out there. And to find the real deal is kind of hard to do nowadays. So, it's like you said, there's a lot of people out there trying to make money on it and just,
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. It's not easy.
No.
No.
No,
But-
you definitely, you have to want to do this work. It's a great service to people, and you have to have a true desire, because if the desire isn't strong, you're going to have a harder time developing any of your gifts. Just like I said before with learning an instrument or something, if you don't really want to do it and you're not dedicated,
mm-hmm.
it's not going to develop. So,
Okay.
So that's a big one. Desire and intention. Again, you have to have good intentions.
And is it easy
Yeah.
for somebody to learn, or is it a long process, like your students?
I don't think it's a long process. I think if you truly have a desire and go, gosh, I really want to learn how to feel energy a little bit better, or become clairvoyant, or that's what we teach, and we make them practice it. And I've taught remote viewing before.
Okay.
And so it's what you want to do. If you really want to learn it, you can.
Okay, perfect, cool. And what was the name of that school? Somebody was asking me in the chat.
The school is called Soul, Soul, Path, Path, Insights.
Okay.
And so you could go soulpathinsights.com.
Okay.
And you just look up members and what it's involved with, and then you can sign up there.
Okay, cool. Because Matt was asking in the chat, wanted to know. He asked me twice, so there you go, Matt. And you know what? Another question I really wanted. Now that we kind of talked a little bit about the other side a bit, how is it that how do you get them to cross over, and why are you needed to help them cross over?
I guess why, I can answer that one first.
Okay.
Because an opportunity like that doesn't come along for them very often. And so I feel it's important when they do follow me and want my help to help them. So what it entails, and it's very easy. I mean, anybody can do this. If you think your house is haunted, let me tell you, sometimes spirits act up just because they want you to call somebody in. So, because they want to cross over, or they need help, or they want attention for whatever reason. But so what I do is you can just light a candle, and you kind of quiet yourself, and you imagine the candlelight stretching all the way to heaven. And then I just kind of focus on that for a few minutes. And what you're doing is you're creating a light bridge and to the other side. And then you ask your guides and angels to come through that light that you've just created, and to kind of put their hands out and reach for people and help them cross over. And so in my mind's eye, when I do this, I can actually see them leaving, and I can see them telling me thank you. Some of them are crying, some of them don't trust me. So they're kind of holding back, but most of the time they'll go, and they have a couple hours to go, and some of them take longer than others, but really it's not tough. You just have to focus your energy and focus on that light. And then I invite them to share their stories with me, because sometimes they just need somebody to hear them out. If they died tragically, or anything, I guess they tell me all kinds of stories, and then they go, and then they're happy, or they need permission to go. So, yeah, that's really what it is. It's not hard.
Okay. Well, the spiritual guides that actually help you, help
Yes.
them cross over.
Yeah.
What are they? I mean, are they angels? Are they spirits that have crossed over and come back to help out spirit guides and people? Well, mediums like you, people who can help cross them over.
Yeah, I mean, everybody, I know this is going to sound far-fetched for people who don't believe in this, but let me tell you, when we're all born, we have a set of people called spirit guides who make it their mission to work with us when we're on Earth. So, and that's what people call their inner voice. So have you ever been driving down the street and you hear a voice go, slow down, and then there's a cop? That's kind of that's your guide. I mean, that inner voice is your guide. And so we all have these people. And so, of course, I have them. And because of the work I do, too, I've connected with them. I know who they are. I also work with angels, and I'll bring them in certain cases. And, yeah, they help me. And sometimes if there's a spirit who won't cross, sometimes I tell my guides and angels to go get their relatives and bring them through the light so they can see them. And then they usually will go. So, it's kind of a lot of counseling and stuff and being compassionate and kind and working with your people. I call them my people, but that's what I'm working with, or is a divine source.
Okay. Is there a big difference between, well, evidently, spirit guides and angels?
The spirit guides have a contract to be with you your whole life, where angels can come and go, depending on what you need. So, there's different angels for different things. Some are for healing, some are for, protection. There's just different, people up there, I guess. So it's just whatever I need, I call in for myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The whole angel thing is very interesting. So, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I get that.
It is interesting. Yeah, it is. And, it's kind of, it's good to have angels, trust me. And one thing I will tell you and your audience are, if you don't call on the angels per se, they don't usually come unless they're called upon. So if you ever feel like you're in danger, you should say, hey, angels, I need some backup because I feel kind of uneasy.
Okay.
They'll be there in a second, but, they do need to be called upon. So that's one tip.
Okay, so you can reach out to angels. I mean, and, so that's why prayer and stuff like that is really actually a very good practice to have, right?
Yeah, and psychic mediums are very spiritual people, and we're constantly meditating and praying, and we believe in God just like everybody else, and so yeah.
Well, how much strength can an angel actually give you? I mean, say you're just down and out and depressed and just oh my God, I mean, I need somebody to come here and just help me out. I mean, is it something where they can actually pick you up and get you to a better state of mind and help you out that way?
They can try to help you energetically. Okay. The times that I've used them were basically when I was doing paranormal stuff and I was dealing with a very nasty spirit that would try to attack. And I would call in angels as backup, and boy, they would take care of it for me. So I use them for protection a lot, but they do come for healing. If you're going through something, you'll have relatives, your loved ones on the other side, your spirit guides. Basically what they all do as a team is if you're going through something rough in life, they're trying to align on the other side how to help you, how to make things better. So like if you hate your job and you're just like, gosh, I wish I could get out of this job. I need a new job. I don't like my boss. They're up there working for you. They're like, okay, how can we get them aligned with something better that would suit them? And so, I've had that happen with me before, and I've said, hey, angels, I need to do something else. I want to focus on this. And then the more I think about it and I know it's coming and I just have faith in it, it happens. So, they will help you if you ask them. If you're depressed, like you said, just say, you know what, I need your strength. I need to get out of this. It's up to you. It's kind of a personal thing. So it's up to what you want to ask for and, what your beliefs are, because I don't try to shove my beliefs down anybody's throat.
Right.
It's not, it's not my job to change anybody's beliefs on any of this. It's all our own personal spiritual journey.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I get you. And I hate hearkening. I've had so many like demonologists and stuff on that. It's just I seem like I'm asking the same question and every time to the guests and stuff like that. But I mean, you bring up angels, and I guess I should ask you about the evil side of that, the demons. I mean, if there are angels, there have been fallen angels, and I mean, what are your thoughts on that? Are they here on Earth like other spirits to wreak havoc?
Yeah, I mean, I don't doubt that they're. I don't know if I would call them a demon, but I know there's very negative spirits, and they can be very harmful. And so if I'm ever in a situation where I don't feel like it's safe for me or anyone else with us, I don't let them go in. I won't let them be around it. It's better to be safe than sorry. And those people who are demonologists, they do go and look for that, and they do have the skills to fight it or whatever. I just don't go there. And I've had my angels and guides tell me, I don't think you want to go on this investigation today. And then I know, oh boy, something there is waiting for us, and I don't want to go.
Huh.
So, yeah, I mean, I have backed out on a couple of things, but generally I haven't encountered anything that evil, or anything to throw anybody or, anything like that. So.
Okay. Well, I got a question here. They want to ask, they're like, why would your angels or spirits wait for you to ask for help?
It's not my guides. It's basically angels. You just need to ask them.
Okay.
I don't know why that is, but I guess they feel like you just need to ask.
Okay.
They don't. I think if you're in imminent danger, there's going to be an angel probably to help you out. But I've just always been taught that you should ask them to come.
Okay, and that was Maxon Smith that asked that. He wanted to know. So the spirit guides are always there, but the angels you actually have to reach out to get some
extra.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like that extra layer of stuff you need, but my guides are always with me, so I can hear them, everywhere I'm at.
Interesting.
If they need, if they need to tell me something, they'll tell me.
Huh, okay. So, yes, so getting back to the angels and we won't say demons, I guess, or we can, negative spirits, whatever. I mean, there have been fallen angels, though, right? I mean, you believe that part of the Bible?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure. With good, there's always bad, right? So,
right.
I'm sure there have been.
Okay. Well, so you during all of you say a lot of these, they attach themselves to you and they actually follow you around sometimes until that you eventually cross them over.
Right.
You've never had any negative spirits follow you around and.
Well, they've tried.
Okay.
But I have. When you do this work, you learn to put major shields and protection around you so that does not happen.
Okay.
I mean, we've had a few instances where, we go into a place, and one place I'm working with currently in Denver is called the Molly Brown House, where Margaret Brown, the survivor of the Titanic.
Yes.
They call me in quite frequently because there's an angry spirit in their basement. And so I don't even have to open the door down there I can already hear him calling me names, saying, get out of here, you this and that. And
really? Okay.
So, yeah. So, that's when I always want to put extra protection when I know I'm walking into something kind of dangerous. And I just have so much of that protection. They're not allowed to do anything to me. And
they're not allowed?
No, they're not allowed to. I mean, I have so many boundaries and so many angels and guides walking with me. It's like I'm like the tough guy going in, like, really?
Okay, so
you're not gonna
So they look out for you then. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah So and of course I ask for it before I go in there. I'm like, I call Archangel Michael a lot. I'm like, come with me, I need your protection, I need you to let them know that I'm here to do God's work, and they are not to bother me. They're not to, try to harm me in any way or anyone else. I've had spirits try to choke me before. I've had them slap me in the forehead before. Oh yeah, they've gone a little bit nasty, but
and are these just regular spirits that have passed on and that are just angry?
Yeah, they're very angry.
Okay.
Like the guy at the Molly Brown Museum, he doesn't want to leave. And they're starting to build offices down there, so they want me to cross him over. And so I've been there at least 6-7 times, and he just isn't budging. And I'm trying to, counsel him, but he just doesn't have anybody on the other side that he misses.
Yeah. And
he's just content, and he's physically moving things down there. So he moved a door, and we have a good picture on our paranormal site. We have a picture of this full-bodied apparition of this man. So if you ever want to check that out,
what's the name of the group?
It's on Inner Soul Investigations Facebook page.
Okay, Inner Soul Investigations.
Yeah, Inner Soul Investigations. But so, I go in there, and so there are angry spirits. A lot of them don't want to leave, and they don't want you telling them they have to leave. And, it's just, it's tough. It can be time consuming to try to get those type of spirits out, but the living usually wins.
And can they stay here for, eternity if they really wanted to?
Yeah, it's your choice. Everybody has a choice, and they have a choice. Just because I try to cross a spirit over does not mean they have to go, because they choose if they want to go or not. So, that's when you really have to counsel them and say, hey, you're in a different time. You're not really welcome here anymore. It's kind of that kind of thing. So. Okay.
Well, I got a question here, and I'm not sure how you can answer this. If you can use some of it. I'm not going to say let's sit here and do a reading or anything, but Verna Beyer says, okay, here's my question. Are my family members together, and are they happy? And, she just said if she can't answer this, it's okay. She did share earlier. She said, it might sound weird, but I do the same thing. I ask for guidance and help from the angels and my mom and sister and my dad from the other side. See, my mom passed away 2 years ago and my sister 4 years ago and my dad 12 years ago. But I know they're with me always. I wish I knew my spirit guides' names. This is Verna Beyer. This is what she shared with us. Thank you, Verna. So that's kind of two different things there, I guess. I guess she's asking about her, how does she know her spirit guides' names, first off? And I guess take that first, if you're able to.
Yeah. What you have to do in that case, and that's a great question, especially for beginners, you basically, you meditate, and I don't know, it's basically just quieting your mind, and you just, once you're kind of centered and you've let go of everything that we go through in our busy lives, so, you have to let go of your tension, your anxiety, any stress, and just be in a quiet place and really quiet yourself. Sometimes taking a walk in nature is really good for that. And then you start asking in your mind, hey, I would like to know your name, spirit guide. And it's usually the first name that'll pop into your head, and just know that's your spirit guide. That's their name. But it's hard for people to get past that because they think it's it's their own thought, but it's really not. So, and there's some really good videos on YouTube that actually will help you connect with your spirit guide, and it takes practice. So I suggest, if she really wants to learn, or anyone else, to find some of those YouTube videos. They're great. Okay. And then your second question was about the family members on the other side. Are they happy? There is no better place than being with God. So of course they're happy. I've never encountered a spirit that has transcended to the other side and come back. That's not happy. They are very joyful, and And a lot of them come back to thank me when I cross them over. And it's funny, it'll be like a day or two.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden a spirit will pop in and go, thank you, Wendy. And then I'm like, oh, thank you. I mean, I'm so glad you made it over there and you're happy. And they're like, yay, thank you. So of course they're happy. I mean, that is just a place of peace and love and, you know, protection. And they see everybody and they have more fun up there. They're more alive than we are. Let me tell you.
Really? Okay. So
yeah, they have fun.
There's a carnival, circus, everything just going on up there.
Anything you can imagine. And the reason I tell you this is because I had a near-death experience when I was younger. And I did go to the other side. And it's so hard to express the feelings of peace and love that you go through. You know, and I was not happy about coming back. And they said, you cannot stay. You have too much to do in your life. And boy, I was not pleased. But so, you know, when you're over there, when you do transcend to the other side, you feel like you're home. It's like, this is a bad camping trip down here. And when I go home, I'm like, I'm home. So that's how the spirits feel. Okay.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting. So when your family members pass on, is it, are they given a choice to either move on? I mean, because I know it's probably a great place. If it's heaven, if it's like everybody talks about, you know, you're with God, you know, all that. I mean, are we able to reincarnate, or are we able to move our energy onto the next level? I mean, what, or are we just, when we die here from Earth, we're just in heaven, we're just there?
No, it's, you know, we remain conscious, and it's your choice. You know, if you want to go, and a lot of people are met by loved ones that have already passed, and they kind of like, they come to get them. And so once you're on the other side, because I have meditated about this too and asked other questions that I was interested in, but it's your choice. If you want to reincarnate, then you can reincarnate. They'll help you work through that. There used to be a show on, and it was about kids that reincarnated. And some of them were victims of 9/11. One of them was a victim of the Oklahoma bombing, and they had all reincarnated into different lives. And so I thought that was fascinating, but it's up to the soul, you know, how quickly they want to come back, and what, if they want to stay in the same, I call it like spirit group. You know, our families are all kind of spirit groups, and we've all been in other lives together. So it's up to them, but yeah, they can come back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are they able to move on to, say, other worlds, you know, I mean, life is not just here. I don't think you believe that, or maybe you do. Are we able to move on anywhere? Like, say, a planet in a different solar system or something like that. You get my question, or no?
Yeah, I mean, this is what I've been told by my guides before. They said Earth is the most negative planet to be on, and it is the toughest planet to be born on. And so the souls coming over here are basically like warriors. We're all like warrior souls. We know what we're getting into. And it's tough. So if you don't want to be one of those warrior souls to come to Earth, you do have a choice to go to another planet that is much easier. So that's what I've been told.
Okay. I'm not sure why anybody would want to come back here, or even come here. I mean, let me just say, I mean, there's beauty on this planet. There's beautiful people. There's people who really, you know, touch you in a way that you can't even, you know, get out in words. But there's just so much evil too that you look at on this planet, and like you said, the warrior soul. You almost would need to be that to say, hey, I'm going to be reincarnated back on that planet. I may get sick, I may get ill, I may be a number of things that are just not good, and it would be tough for me to want to come back here. That's for sure. That's just me. But
yeah, and and I asked that question before too, and and the answer that I received was, it's basically like Earth down here is like going to college, and another planet that's much easier and much safer and peaceful is like you're only getting to first grade. So for the souls who want to, I guess, enlighten themselves from first grade on to college, they would come to Earth for college. It's like the toughest place. You got to really get in there and, do your best and try to survive. So, yeah, that's what I was told, why there's such a difference.
Okay.
If that made sense at all. I mean,
No, yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
okay.
No, yeah. It's just, it's a complicated issue. I mean, people can tell you their thoughts and hey, this is how it is, and but there's so many people with so many different versions, and not to say that one's right or wrong. They may be interpreting it in a different way than another psychic or another medium or somebody else who can, be in contact. So it's just, I mean, because I've heard, people talk about, you can move your energy onto another planet or being, or your energy just, you move on to the next level. You've learned your lesson, so you move on. So there's just so many different, questions and answers. It's just, and that's why it's always good to get, somebody like you on to talk about this and sort it out in the end, so.
Yeah. And everybody is on their own spiritual journey. And for me, like I said, I can only speak to what I've been told by divine source. But you're right, spirit speaks to everybody differently. And, it's such a controversial subject anyway.
Yeah. Well, I got a question for you that I want to ask, but I'll have somebody. Sure. Somebody said, well, Verna, if she wants to know if there's a link or anything that she can get a hold of you after you. Where's the main place? I mean, she is part of our group, Verna. She's in Paranormal Into the Night, so you could probably tag her, maybe. But Wendy Lucero, which is the
Lucero.
Is that the best way to contact you? Just message you through Facebook?
You can contact me through there, or if you want to go to Inner Soul Investigations Facebook, you can send a message and I get the messages.
Okay.
So, you can do it that way too.
Sounds good. Okay.
Yeah.
And I guess I'm going to open up a bit here because I'd like to see if you have any answers to my problems, I guess. I mean, I think everybody on this planet's got issues, okay? But when it comes to phobias, okay, like panic attacks and phobias, which kind of go hand in hand. If you got a phobia and you take it to the limit, it's going to trigger a panic attack. So say you're, scared of heights or any number of phobias that you have. Why do you have them in the first place? Okay. A lot of people say it's from something that could have happened in your past life. What is your take on that? Why would I've actually come to be able to deal with the couple of phobias that I've had throughout my life? But it was a very, very difficult road and hard to get over. And still to this day, there's certain things that could trigger the phobia, But what causes that? And is it something from your past life that afflicts you in this one?
Yes. Any type of phobia that I've ever seen or dealt with or worked with people, it's been from their past life or even a few before. Because we carry all of that, what we couldn't get over or what we couldn't deal with, we carry it into the next lifetime until we can deal with it. So yeah, and you'll notice a lot of times, like you said, you kind of got over it. Mm-hmm. And what I found of like, if when I was little, I was terrified. I mean, absolutely terrified of spiders. And I know a lot of people are, but this went over and above like any normal fear. Mm-hmm. And it happened through my teens. And then I started having dreams about being a man with a long stick, and I was poking it into the ground, and there were other people around, and we were hunting something in the ground. Well, when I poked my stick in there, a huge, like, jungle type spider came flying out of there. And so I fell backwards and it bit my leg. And so when I woke up, I was like, a light bulb went on. And then I was no longer scared. I kind of got over it, and now I can deal with spiders just fine.
And that was from a dream?
Well, and they were trying to show me that the reason you're so fearful is because the spider bit you in another lifetime when I was even a boy, but I was young, like a teen, and it killed me. It must have poisoned me. And so so I had a horrible fear of spiders. I mean, I would shake and cry and go into convulsions. So,
well, yeah, a panic attack basically is what you're having, and
right.
That's something that if you never had one, it's hard to explain to somebody how it feels. So a phobia and panic attack is just not fun, not good, and to the limit. Was this your spirit guides that actually helped you in your dreams to figure this out?
I think they wanted me to quit being so scared, and they just wanted to show me, hey, this is what happened. Because in fact, I had the dream a couple of times, and it was always the same scenario. So, you know, for your guests and for you, if you're having dreams that are repeating themselves, pay attention to that, because they're trying to show you something. But yeah, most phobias are from past lives, whether, you know, someone was, you know, attacked by an animal, or have a fear of heights because they may have fell, or being murdered, you know. Yeah, that comes from other lifetimes. We bring it. Wow. Yeah, we bring it forward.
And we choose to come back, though, still.
Oh, we still do. I think because, you know, when you're over on the other side, think about it. Everything is perfect and peaceful. And so when you're making your little plan to come back, you're like, oh, it'll be fun. It won't be that bad. And then we get here and we're like, oh, this is, what did I do? I took on too much.
Oh, what did I do? Oh, boy. No. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, emotions, love, you know, all this good happiness, I mean, sometimes you can't think of anything that feels any better than that. So I can see coming back for that part of, you know, being on this planet, or being a spirit, a soul on Earth. But yeah, the given a choice, and I guess why the heck did I come back? I don't know. Maybe it's something that, you know, we'll find out when we pass on to the other side, that they'll say, hey, maybe you do need to go back just for a little while longer. There are some more lessons you need to learn. Maybe there is a lesson to learn when you do pass on, and that's why a lot of people maybe do come back. So I guess that was my 2 cents. But anyways, and like, how about the people who never really? Okay, I guess we would never know if our family members passed on and are still there, right? Because some of them actually may reincarnate and come back, or some may move on. So to reach out to somebody who's passed on, is that something that you can do no matter what? Or sometimes you can't get a hold of that family member that you want to get in touch with?
Well, and it's funny because, you know, I don't go and choose the spirits on the other side.
Okay.
Even if they're my family members, I can call to them, you know, by saying, hey, I want to speak to somebody. But they don't always come. You know, they choose me. And so, you know, that's one part of working with mediums. When you're having a reading, people do need to know, hey, we don't go and choose them. They're choosing us to speak to us. I don't have any control over who will actually speak to me on the other side. You know, once I open up and I ask them, then they're welcome to come into my space and talk. But yeah, I mean, but I do have family members that come tell me things from time to time, and it's kind of fun.
Well, let me ask you this too. I forgot to ask this because I kind of tend to ramble when I'm thinking of something. The whole phobia type thing, how you got actually help through a dream, through your spirit guides. What would be the best way for me for somebody to get help finding out what happened in their past life? Would you have to go to a psychic? Can you try to reach out yourself through dreams? Which is the best way? What would you recommend?
Well, that's a great question. I would recommend that, if you want to try asking your angels and guides to help you understand that phobia and tell them, you have to be pretty specific when you're dealing with the other side. You have to tell them, bring it to me in a dream so that I can understand why I'm so fearful of, X, Y, Z. The other option you have, there are a lot of people who are hypnotherapists, and they are certified in doing past life regressions. And I've done one before, and it was quite an eye-opener. And you see several lives that you were involved in, and it's very interesting. So that's another way. Or, I guess you could go to it. Sometimes mediums, I did a reading and it's funny, I did a reading on a little boy. It was his birthday. He was about 7, okay? And I kept seeing Pompeii. And I'm just like, it just kept going. He was alive during Pompeii. And I said, do you know what Pompeii is? And he goes, yeah. And I said, do you dream about it? He said, yeah. And his parents were sitting there, and they're like, their eyes were just like saucers and their jaws were dropped. But they said, you know what he wanted for his birthday? A Pompeii party. And so, I had to talk to him about, you have dreams about it. He's like, yeah. I said, because you had a lifetime there. And, I had to kind of say, you need to let that go. You're in a new lifetime now. So it was interesting. So, I do pick up on past lives sometimes when I'm dealing with people, but not always. Okay. I think if it's really important, I will.
Okay. So people come back and back and back. So people can have several past lives then.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Wow. See,
crazy.
That's something that I guess I've got to put myself aside some time just to hone those skills to be able to somewhat meditate and reach out to my spirit guides, I guess, and start getting some answers. It's a hard thing for me to do. I've been trying to make time for a long time now just to be able to do that, because I really do want some answers, and I guess I got to make that time to be able to do that. So
you do. And you know what? There are great videos on past life regressions on YouTube too. If you want to try to sit down and you have the time to meditate, let one of those walk you through and see if you discover anything. But yeah, it's really interesting. If you get there, you understand a lot about yourself. So I suggest you do it.
Okay, cool. Are you one of those people that can actually, like me being here right now, feel something or reach out to a spirit guide that's attached to me or anything like that, or no?
I had a couple people on.
Not that I'm asking you to do it.
Onto the second. I did have a couple spirits that were hanging around me for you that day, and so I think they're still popping in. But I can kind of go over those if you want.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Okay. So I felt like there was a grandmother, and I don't know if her name started with a B, like Betty or something.
Beatrice?
Oh, is that your grandmother?
Yep.
Okay, because it was a B name. Anyway, she was basically letting me know that she was pretty close to you. And that she took pride. I feel like this lady had fruit trees around her house, and that she maybe canned fruit or made pies or something. She was known for that. But she basically said she understood you, and that's why there was a closeness there, because she really understood you, and you were helping her when she was getting older. And she said she really loved, when you would come over and help her do stuff. So I hope that resonates with you.
Oh my gosh, yeah, 100%.
Okay. Yeah, and then you had a grandfather.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like he was in World War II because I could see him wearing a uniform, like a military.
Yeah.
Okay, so he came through and was like, hey, I'm just telling Dino, hey. So he popped in, and his was just a hello message, like, hey, I'm here,
Okay, well, that's something that he would do. He was a kind of a very funny, witty Italian guy who was the jokester, and that sounds just like somebody would do.
Well, there you go. They don't lose their personality on the other side at all. And then I had another guy for you. This guy was kind of younger, and he was holding a motorcycle helmet. And so I was kind of like, okay, I think this is someone you knew. Does that resonate with you? And I think there was question, or what the message that he gave me was that there was a question around how he died. And because I think he was on his motorcycle, but there were no other cars around. People didn't know if he was being chased or bothered. But, he lost control and he ended up losing his life over it. So his message was kind of, hey, it was a freak accident. I feel like there was an animal that ran out in front of him and caused him to swerve and lose control of his bike.
Okay.
And so he came through, too, with the grandmother and the grandpa. Okay. So you might think back on people you knew when you were younger, maybe.
Okay.
Who rode a bike.
That doesn't resonate with me at all, which is weird, but I mean, there could be a connection, of course.
It could be somebody you know.
Yeah, I mean, we had such a big family. I mean, my grandmother had 13 kids, and there were so many aunts and uncles, and they went their way. And I mean, I don't even know who's actually living or dead, and because there were so many of them. Mm-hmm. That maybe something like that did happen.
I would ask around, ask your family, because someone will go, oh my God, that's so-and-so, and that happens a lot.
Okay.
So, but he did come through with those other two, and he's just like, he wanted everyone to know, that he wasn't murdered or chased down the way people wanted to think.
Okay.
That it was a freak accident, and that definitely came through.
Wow. Well, I'll tell you, my grandmother and grandfather, just you picking those two out is amazing, because they are the two people that are most important in my life, and they had the most effect on me growing up. I mean, me and my grandmother were so close, and would visit all the time. And my grandfather, World War II, he was, I believe... what did he say? 100 yards from Hitler's bunker. He was a bazooka man, and he was right in the pits. And he got a Purple Heart for one of the tanks going over that he blew up while he was in the pit. So it was.
Oh my God!
Oh yeah, it was a very very cool story that we've always talked about. But they both passed on. So, wow, that's awesome to hear. Thank you.
You're welcome. No, I mean, the grandmother was super sweet. She was the sweetest lady. And, she just kept showing me her beautiful yard. And, she was proud of this beautiful landscaped property. And I don't know, I just, grandmothers, they're so cute. They want to show you everything. And,
oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So she really loved you helping her, though, she said,
Cool.
But, yeah, she understood you, even if people thought you were, could be mischievous or whatever. She always understood you.
Good. Well, thank you very much for doing that. I mean,
you're welcome.
I don't usually ask, and sometimes they say, well, it's something I really can't do. So you to just pop out like that is very cool. Yeah, I mean, and you hit it straight on. So that was good. Yeah. Well, so let's get into something a little darker now.
Okay.
You do paranormal investigations, and you did say you did. What's the investigation that stood out the most for you? I know you said you've seen a full-on apparition before. Was that evil, or was that actually a good spirit?
That full-bodied apparition was actually in my mom's house.
Okay. Really?
He was just confused, and he didn't know, why I was there, and I could tell he was a farmer. And then we looked back on historical records, and sure enough, where her house is it was all farms. So, I just had to talk to him and say, hey, you're not alive anymore, but you still exist without your physical body. And, once you convince them of that, then it's easier to cross them over. So, yeah. Okay. The one that stood out the most, gosh, there's been a few. Of course, the Molly Brown house. Okay.
Let me just throw out real quick. Amy, oh my God, that's a hard last name to say. Rohrbach. Hopefully I got that. Amy Rohrbach. Who is this guest? She's right on. This is Wendy Lucero. And you can find all the links on Paranormal Into the Night here and everywhere else. So you guys can check her out and all the links and all that good stuff. So wanted to throw that out there. So go ahead with...
okay. Yeah, well, thank you.
No problem.
The Molly Brown house for me is... I feel so connected to it. And I think it's because when I walked around, and Margaret herself has spoken to me. And, it shocked me, to be honest. And, she would tell me things that I was able to verify or validate with the docents that work in the house and the historical people. Mm-hmm. And they're like, yeah, that really did happen with Margaret, or I can't believe she's telling you that. So, and her and I actually, we had an interview. Mm-hmm. I went to the house, and I do some events there, but I went to the house and we had an interview about her experience on the Titanic, which I actually wrote up, and I would love to publish it someday. And so they give that away when they have their ghost tour events with the public. But yeah, we talked about her whole Titanic. So that one really stands out for me because I love going there and communicating with her.
Well, what did she say? What about her experience on the Titanic?
Basically, she went into... I think what happened is Margaret had some abilities herself. Okay. And... so when she was in Cairo, she was having dreams about a ship, and she said she would see people in the water panicking, and she didn't understand it fully. And her daughter was with her in Cairo, and then she got, I guess, a wire that she had to come back to be with her grandson, was very ill. And the first ship sailing out was the Titanic. And she was real hesitant on getting onto it. And someone in Cairo gave her this little, there's a name for it, and I can't remember it offhand. It was like a little statue thing. It was for protection and keeping her safe. And she put that in her pocket when she boarded the Titanic. And so when the ship hit the iceberg and things were starting to go a little crazy, she was angry that White Star Line sort of swept a lot of it under the rug. They didn't tell people the truth. They didn't want to start a panic, so they kind of let people go back to bed and go back to their rooms. They didn't handle it well. Mm-hmm. And so she was kind of freaking out, and she went back to her room and put a bunch of clothes on because it was cold, and she knew they were getting the boats ready. Wow. And they deemed her hysterical in those days because she was just like, something's going to happen. This is not good. And so she started to kind of create a panic, and they threw her on a boat, one of the lifeboats. And so she talked about being on there and that it was hard to balance the weight, and those little boats weren't made very well. Uh-huh. So she kind of went through that, and she went through how, when the boat did start to take water, panic really did set on, and people were, grabbing for other people's life vests, and they were panicked, just kind of like in the movie, I guess. Yeah. And there were people in the water, and the women on her boat were crying, and she kept telling them, stop crying, you're making your face cold, because it was only, 27 degrees.
Yep.
So she kept saying, you need to calm down. And she was trying to get everybody to keep their heads covered because she was used to the weather. She came from the mountains here in Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
So she kind of knew to bundle up and keep her head warm and her hands. And so she talked about that. And she talked about when the boat went under, it was like a light switch had gone off. So like it became silent. She said all they had to look at were the stars, and everybody in the water became quiet because they all knew that they would perish. They all knew. And she never used the word die. She always said perish. So she said they knew they were going to perish. And so everybody became quiet except for the people in the boats were crying because their husbands and their friends were all floating nearby dying. So she talked about that, and she kind of she kept people, like their arms moving. She kept them rowing, and she wanted them to stay a little bit, warm. But she said it was really tough, and all she could think about, because Margaret's kind of funny, she said, the only thing I could think about was who's being hysterical now, the boat freaking sank. And she was trying to tell people. So, she was very happy when daylight came because she knew it would warm them up and that boats they could spot them better, the big rescue boats. Mm-hmm. And so when they saw the Carpathia, she said they all cheered. But there were so many bodies and things floating in the water that the people on the Carpathia were shocked, just absolutely shocked. And that they were very generous. She said the first class passengers were so generous to them. They let them take over their rooms for the day and have like a bath and to sleep. And they couldn't believe they survived. And so she said, word had gotten back to New York, to the States, before they got back. So she said they were bombarded when they got back. And but she said, we didn't want anything to do with it. Everybody was in mourning. They just lost their husbands and, other people and friends. And she said, so the newspapers wanted us to give our story right away, but we couldn't. We just didn't want anything to do with it. So, she said she went home back here to Colorado, thought about it, and then became angry. And, Margaret was quite a outspoken, strong woman for those times. And she decided she was going to do something about it and speak up for the people who had perished. Because she said, I would want them to do that for me if I had, not made it.
Right.
So she really spoke up, and, White Star Line had to pay all these insurances. And in fact, in her house here in Denver, there's all the kinds of stuff on the walls about it. And she's got her insurance list and all this money they had to give her. And she lost a lot of very valuable items on that ship. And
wow.
So, yeah, that was, verbatim. That was our interview. But, I have it written up word for word, but it was amazing. I love speaking to her.
Wow. Yeah, that's an amazing story. My 8-year-old son is like so infatuated with the Titanic right now. He's watched every documentary, stuff on YouTube. I mean, I'm like, I don't understand why. He's 8 years old, but he's just, loves the history and stuff behind it, which is cool.
Yeah,
I'm
is cool.
I'm like, yeah, man. Well, we sat down and watched the Titanic movie. I mean, it was a great movie. Sad story, but great movie. But yeah, wow.
Well, maybe he had a past life there. You never know.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, this kid's something else though. But anyway, so that was probably your top story with your investigations, huh? Anything else really stand out for you?
Well, and with the Molly Brown too, she it was so funny because I was in her dining room and I took a picture of a mirror that's in their dining room. And it was on my iPhone, so it wasn't a very good picture. But when I got home, I blew it up. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, Margaret Brown is standing next to me, and she's in the mirror. Full hat, full gown. And I said, no way did I just capture her spirit.
Really?
So they blew that up and they show that at their ghost tour. And the dress, I was like, I have to find her wearing this dress, or it has to become a piece of something, because I love to validate what I'm getting.
Right.
And so one day I walked in their back door and they had a dress in a case, and I just stopped dead in my tracks and I said, that's the dress she was wearing in the picture. So, and then you can see it. You can completely see it. It's crazy.
Wow. So do you have that on your site at all anywhere, or is that just at the museum?
I think that is on Inner Soul Investigations. I share a lot of my stuff on there.
Okay.
And so yeah, that's on there, and I can send you.
Yeah,
I can post
me
them
a link for sure.
on Paranormal Into the Night too.
Yes, please do. That would be cool.
Yeah.
Because everybody can go digging for these pictures. That's kind of interesting. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it's fun, and we have an upcoming public event at Cheesman Park in Denver. I don't know if you've ever heard about this place.
I haven't heard of Cheesman Park. No.
Yeah, this is a really creeper.
Okay.
But we do take the public out there, and we do investigations there. But basically, this park, picture a beautiful 80-acre park with huge old trees and a white marble pavilion in the middle.
Okay.
Okay, so it's in the heart of downtown Denver, Capitol Hill. It's surrounded by mansions. Okay, one of course, Molly Brown's mansion was one of them.
Okay, wow.
And the history began in 1858. And there was a General William Larimer. He jumped the claim to the St. Charles Town Company, and he established his own town, which he called Denver. That's how we got named. Right. But basically, I won't go too much in detail, but this park became a cemetery. There was 320 acres he wanted as a cemetery. Okay. And then they hired this guy. It was called the Mount Prospect Cemetery.
And I love history, so you go in as deep as you want.
Okay, good.
I love hearing the stories.
I didn't know if I wanted to, bore you or.
No. This ain't boring at all.
So Larimer called he called it Mount Prospect Cemetery. Mm-hmm. And there were several large plots that were designed for exclusive use of the city's wealthy and most influential citizens to bury. Mm-hmm. But on the outermost edge of the cemetery, it was reserved for criminals and paupers, and then the middle class were kind of buried somewhere in between. And, even though it was the citizens, like the rich people, weren't really being buried there. Okay. So the graveyard was kind of mostly the poor and the outlaws and the diseased people is what it ended up being. And so he left Denver, this Larimer guy. And so this other guy named John Wally, he was an aspiring undertaker.
Undertaker?
Yeah, he was an aspiring undertaker, apparently. And he did a really bad job of keeping the cemetery, up. Like, it was like, headstones were toppled, graves were vandalized, and sometimes even cattle were allowed to graze on the land. And so
he didn't aspire too well, did he?
Yeah, so he wasn't doing well. So in 1872, and it was funny because the land was actually owned by the Arapaho Indians legally. So that was a whole nother story in there. But wow. So in 1872, the U.S. government basically determined that the property where the cemetery sat was federal land, and had been deeded to the government in 1860 with a treaty with the Arapaho Indians. So in 1890, Congress authorized the city to vacate Mount Prospect, and so they were going to have to dig up all the bodies, right? Mm-hmm. So they hired a guy named E.P. McGovern to remove the remains. Can you imagine what a horrible job that would be?
Well, yeah. How many people would be there? I mean, it's got to be a lot of people.
Yeah, 320 acres of dead people. Mm. So what was the deal was he was to get a fresh box for each body, and he would have to transfer it to the Riverside Cemetery for $1.90 each, okay? So for the first few days, he did this very orderly. And then McGovern found a way to make an even larger profit. So rather than utilizing the full-size coffins for adults, he used child-size caskets that were just about 1 foot by 3.5 feet long. He hacked up the bodies and sometimes used as many as 3 caskets for one body. So he was getting paid more for each casket, right?
Yeah.
So, in his haste, body parts and bones were literally strewn everywhere. It was just a big mess. So
Jeez.
the park finally completed in 1907. So, and they never moved the rest of the bodies. So today there's an estimated 2,000 bodies that are remained buried in Cheesman Park. So as you can imagine, it comes to no surprise that these spirits, they kind of come out and visit people in the park.
Yeah.
And in the
Cheesman
surrounding
Park.
neighborhood.
Wow.
Yeah. So those living around the park, they had started to report sad and confused looking spirits knocking at their doors and windows.
Mm-hmm.
They would hear moaning coming from the open graves. I mean, it's just been so creepy. So today, people will report children playing in the park during the night and then they disappear. Or women singing to themselves, or people just walking around and then they vanish. And it's a beautiful park. I mean,
children in the park and they just disappear. So you mean like the spirits of children and
oh yeah.
Okay,
oh, it's all kinds of stuff. So we like to go during a full moon usually, because we're just sick like that.
Mm.
But you can actually, when you're walking across this park, you can see the outline of the graves that were there still, and your foot falls into them, and it's really creepy.
Wow.
So yeah, we like to take the public there and do ghost hunts. It's really fun.
So you're doing this, Halloween's coming up, so probably around that time?
We're doing this, if you live in Denver, we're doing it September 23rd. Yep.
Okay.
So we're going to do that. So that's a creepy little ghost story for you.
Well, let me ask you something real quick.
Sure.
I mean, and this might be just very lame of me to say, but I mean, once the bodies are in the ground, okay,
Mm-hmm.
why? I mean, doesn't the spirit move on? Why would they? I mean, it's just a matter then, right? I mean, the soul leaves the body, the spirit goes. So there should be no problem. Nobody should be affected.
Right.
Unless they're up there and they find out. I mean, are they called back and said, "Hey, somebody's disturbing your grave"? Is that a lame question to ask?
No, I don't think that's lame at all. And from what I've been told, after they I guess die,
mm-hmm.
they're not really connected to their body. There's not an emotional attachment to it anymore. It's
Right.
just like an empty shell. And so one of them told me one time, it's like, hermit crabs.
Mm-hmm.
They can move out of their shell into something else. And that's kind of how we are when we finally come to our end. We don't see our body anymore as anything other than a shell. I mean, we're not really attached to it. So, there was a story that I just read about a young man who had committed suicide.
Mm-hmm.
And he kept saying that. He's like, I wasn't attached to my body. I watched him clean me up. I watched him put me in a body bag and haul me away. And I didn't have an urge to follow it or anything. Because you're just not attached to it anymore. You're still a physical being and you exist without your body. And they just learn that they don't need that.
Mm-hmm.
They don't need it. So they don't really miss it or, feel attached to it.
Okay. So
yeah.
So is that just the souls that stay earthbound or behind? Is it residual energy because of everything that's... I mean, I'm just trying to get my...
Yeah, I think, if you haven't transcended, which means going to the other side, and you're an earthbound spirit, I think you're going to be more attached to like earthbound things, which is something you've owned, like a car or jewelry or, Even if you're in a grave, you might kind of hang out there. I don't know, but I know they're more attached to physical things like that than the spirits who have gone over to the other side and come back and visit. They don't seem to care. So that's why I tell people to be careful when they get antiques, because they can hold some energy of some earthbound spirits, and you can bring them into your house without even realizing it. So, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there you go. I'm Cheesman Park. I'm going to have to look that up for sure.
Yeah.
I've never heard of it, so wow.
It's creepy. It's very creepy, and it's here in Denver, and it's, oh boy. Very haunted.
Amy Robach says, yep, she's right. No antiques. I love antiques, man. I love history.
I know. So. Exactly. I do too. But if you do, if you bring something home, I suggest you just try to cleanse it. Maybe imagine a white light around it and just say,
I bought this because I love it. It's not me trying to take it away from you. So I get you.
Yeah.
Be in touch with the other side.
Yeah, you kind of do. You need to be respectful, of course, because sometimes they don't cross over and they are attached to a antique watch or something. So, yeah. Yep.
Let's see. Now, what about cremation? How do their spirits and souls do? They are the same as buried bodies. Yeah, I would say it really doesn't matter if something is burned or buried alive. I mean, the energy, spirit, or soul leaves that physical body. So I don't think there's really a difference, right?
Right, there's not. I mean, they're not attached to it. So, it's like if you had an old pair of jeans that you just didn't fit anymore and they didn't do you any good, you wouldn't feel bad about giving them away. Or burning them, really. I mean, you just go, oh, I had that once and it was mine, but it's gone. And
well, if I had some really good, their body. If I had some really good times in those jeans, I might,
Well, of course, you have the memory, but you wouldn't feel bad about giving them away. Usually,
I know. Yeah, of course.
You're not attached to it.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, I mean, some people might be, but
yeah. Okay, so why don't we get to your book? I'm curious what that's all about. Beyond the Storm, which is your first book you've written, right?
Right.
And how long ago did you first publish that?
I published it 2 years ago on September 23rd. In fact, I'm going to be doing a giveaway for the anniversary. So
okay.
I have a Beyond the Storm Facebook page. If people get on there and like it, they'll get a notification when I do my giveaway this month. But basically, Beyond the Storm started out as a journal. And so I had it for 5 years, and it was a lot of personal things that I either knew or happened to me. And I decided, you know what, this could be an actual book. So I went back through it and I changed it and added dialogue and, made it a little bit more fictional and fun to read. And so basically the book, I wanted to write a story that would evoke strong emotions that most other books won't force to the surface. And so I wrote about basically, it's hard to explain sometimes.
Sorry.
So since it's a fictional story, but there's a lot of facts, it takes place in a small coastal town of Maine, which is fictional. Mm-hmm. And the main character, her name is Emily Evans. She's dealing with her own substantial loss right, from the very beginning of the book, so I'm not giving anything away. But it's about a woman who leaves everything and everyone. She moves across the country where she's a stranger in a new town. She has nothing but time to rethink her life. And so, it's kind of about that. But I think what people could expect from it is to be taken away to another place and time. The story is meant to really inspire people. And my intention was to write about things that are real, experiences and struggles that the reader can relate to because they've experienced something similar or they knew somebody who had too. So the story might seem like it's about love on the surface. There's a little bit of that, but there's like so much more to it than that. It's basically about the fact that people we meet and encounter, they play important roles in our lives. And then it's about how we're thinking about our life, thinking about things that impact us forever. So there's a lot of that kind of self-help, inspirational aspect to the book.
Okay. So
because I'm a big believer in what you think is what you're going to attract. And so, there's some of that in there, but there's a ghost story in there, a little bit of a mystery and some adventure. I guess, the book is really about the human emotions that we all face at one point or another when we lose somebody, and how we choose to handle that, because life is about choices. So I kind of really wanted to write about how this girl is either going to suffer or is she going to survive. And it's kind of that's what the book speaks to, with some raw emotional stuff, So that's definitely in there. I guess, if people like stories like Message in a Bottle or Nights in Rodanthe by Nicholas Sparks, I think my books are a little bit on the same line. I'm speaking about personal experiences and emotions and what we all go through, so
okay, sounds good to me. I mean, yeah, sounds a little bit of everything thrown in there. So
yeah, I mean, there's even psychics in there. So I wanted to make psychics seem like they were healing instead of scary,
Yeah. How long is the book? I mean, how many pages?
Oh, it's a quick, easy read. It's 212 pages.
Okay.
It's really a fast read,
Yeah.
So
and everybody can find it on Amazon.com, right?
Yeah, they can find it on Amazon. It's on Kindle. Barnes & Noble carries it online and on Nook. And then I sell it in Tattered Cover bookstores in Denver. And at the Molly Brown Museum, I sell it there too.
Okay, cool. So it's everywhere. And I got links up too. So if you check out everywhere I posted, the links are there. So very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, and Amazon will actually let you peek into the first chapter. You can read the first chapter in like another 2 pages.
Okay.
So, if people were really interested, they could definitely just check it out. But that's kind of what the book is about, just what we all go through and how we deal with it.
Yeah. Cool. Sounds good. Yeah, I wanted to get the book out there for sure.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. And anything coming up here towards Halloween? Got anything going on besides the...
Yeah, we do. We the end of this month, our paranormal team is going to the Victor Hotel in Cripple Creek, Colorado. And then the Brown Palace Hotel in downtown Denver is very haunted. And they've reached out to me to maybe get a paranormal group to come in and do their public events. Okay. So we're probably going to do some of that, and then we'll do some stuff at the Molly Brown house as well.
Okay. So you probably do a lot of your research at the Molly Brown house then, right? A lot of your investigations, or do you go all over?
We do. Oh, we go all over. I've been to the Queen Mary, in Long Beach, California.
Okay.
Cool. But a lot of it is in Colorado because all of us who are on this paranormal team, a lot of us work. A lot of people work 9-to-5 jobs too, so it's hard to travel. But I mean, we try to get out and expand ourselves a little bit more. But yeah, I'm just trying to think what else. We do we've done the Canyon City Prison and the Cripple Creek Jail Museum. Mm-hmm. So those are kind of fun, and just a lot of hotels and a lot of residential. We end up doing that. Because people, have a lot of things going on and they don't know what to do. So we do that and help them clear it out.
Okay. So you guys basically go there, investigate, and kind of do cleansings and try to help the people out?
Yeah, we just kind of get to the root of the problem and why it's happening. And a lot of times what's funny is that people, they're so open to it that they're actually attracting spirits, and these spirits are following people home, and then they're creating chaos in their homes. Or if somebody plays with a Ouija board, for example, it kind of opens doors to some chaos if you're not really sure how to protect yourself. And so we end up going, and immediately I always know, I'm like, did you play with a Ouija board in here, or did your kids? And they're like, yeah. So we can just tell that some things were opened, and we have to deal with this these lower level spirits sometimes, but we we just get them out of there. We tell them, you're not welcome, and we cleanse, and we just have we make sure that they're happy, that they're getting what they need from us. But yeah, I mean, it can happen in so many different ways. So. And
they'll listen to you, huh? You tell them to get out of here, get lost, and they'll just go.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm pretty stern, so I tell them, I will come back. I will battle you. Wow. I will make sure you leave because you're not welcome here. It's and so yeah, I get pretty stern with them. You have to be when you're a medium. You can't be a wimp. Oh yeah, doing this work with spirits at all.
Yeah. And is it basically how do you get rid of them? I mean, is it basically I know a lot of people use sage and other herbs and stuff like that. Is it incantations, or how do you go about getting rid of a unwanted spirit?
What I do, I go in and try to talk to them first and really counsel them, like I said. Let them know what's going on and why I'm there. So I'm very respectful in the beginning. And then if they just don't want to leave, you actually can force spirits out. And it's kind of a really mean way to do it. But what you can do, and I don't know if you want me to cover that, but what you can do is there's a salt burning ritual.
Okay.
So you can take Epsom salt and rubbing alcohol, and you put it in like a pie pan or an aluminum pan, and you can you kind of do, like I do a prayer saying, with this process, you're not allowed here. And what it does is it basically like pushes them out. It gets rid of them in a really mean way. So I don't tend to go to that right away. I tend to try to talk to the spirits and let them know I can get rid of you in a really mean way if I need to.
Can I ask you how that works? How alcohol and the Epsom salt will push them out?
I think it's just because salt has, and I don't really know the exact answer here because I was taught from someone else, but I believe it's because salt has been used in rituals for centuries. And so the salt, and I know like if you get a salt rock or whatever, it absorbs negativity.
Okay.
And so that's what the fire and the salt does. It's basically going through the environment and it is pulling all that negativity or that energy out.
Ah, okay.
And that's what I was told by other, seasoned mediums in the past. And so when I was battling a really mean spirit in my own house one time, I did that. And sure enough, it got rid of them just like that. So
wow. Interesting.
It is kind of a mean way. My spirit guide said it's kind of a mean way to do that. You should really try to rescue them and send them to the light first.
And why is that a mean way? I mean, they don't feel anything, do they?
I don't know. I just think I can't really tell you because I've never gone back to speak with a spirit who I've done that to.
Okay.
They've never come back to me ever.
Okay.
So it's kind of a mean way. And you can use sage and sage spray and different things to kind of clear the energy out of the room. Mm-hmm. That's an old, Native American ritual that is very effective. But sometimes you need something a little stronger, and that's when I go to the salt burning ritual. Mm-hmm. And I think there's something about it online if people are really interested, but you got to be careful you don't burn your house down.
Right. But you don't want a fire pit in the middle of your room, yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of what it is. You kind of build that, and but you have to be very safe about it. And but no, it does get rid of spirits.
Okay. And yes, salt absorbs, fire removes. Amy says, "Yep."
Okay. Yeah. So I've just been doing it for a very long time when I needed to. Mm-hmm. Like if you move into a new place and it feels very negative or there's residual energy, I usually will do it there. I like to do it in my own house every 6 months just to clear out the heavy energies. It's good. You shouldn't do it around birds. I guess it's very harmful if you have birds. So
really?
Don't do that.
Okay. Wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's kind of what I do.
Cool. Well, man, this has been awesome. Especially learning about my grandparents or hearing from them. That was really cool.
Yeah. Your grandmother's very sweet. And they had another message. Spirit did have another message for you.
Okay. What?
But I don't know if you're comfortable going over it. But it was about. They were saying that.
I'm open. You could say whatever. So
okay,
go for it.
All right. It's nothing bad.
Right.
But it might be personal a little bit. I don't know.
It's all right.
They were saying that you wanted your show to get picked up more nationally.
Okay.
Just radio stuff, and they said it will, but it's going to take some time, and that they wanted me to let you know that you needed just to be patient, keep being patient, but it will. Something good is coming out of this. It's going to get more attention nationally. So if that's something that's been on your mind, they wanted me to share that with you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, it's been on my mind for sure.
Well, there you go.
I mean, I'm doing this for the love of it, and I mean, heck, I'm a big fan of Art Bell, and he's my inspiration, and that's where all of this came from when I was young, and just looking for answers. I mean, boy, we're only on this planet for so long, and you want to believe that there's something there afterwards, and that's kind of what I'm, searching for,
Right. Yeah.
So,
You're right.
if this show gets, bigger and the more people that listen, that's, great. And I have my own personality, and I never went to school for broadcasting, nothing like that. So this is something that just, came out of the love of, the paranormal, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do a show. I'm going to start a little network, and with the advances in everything from YouTube to Spreaker to Facebook Live, where lots of people hit that. Everywhere, iTunes. I mean, you could shoot it out everywhere. SoundCloud. So the word's getting out. That's for sure. So if the day comes that, wow, hey, you know what? You want to be picked up somewhere? I hope the day comes. That would be cool,
Yeah.
Everybody kind of aspires for that,
Yeah, they said it will, but you just need to be patient. It's going to take some time.
Oh.
That was my dog, sorry.
Yeah, no. It's like, what's the name again?
My dog is Jack.
Jack, okay. Jack, okay. Simple name for
he
for
wanted
a beautiful
out.
dog.
He got locked in my office, so.
How dare you leave me out of there?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, well, you know what? I guess I will end the show. We've covered everything, and Beyond the Storm. Are you planning on doing another book soon?
I am writing a second book.
Okay.
And this one is going to be, it's also going to be fictional, but it's meant to be a self-help book also. And it's about suicide and what one goes through and when you die. And so I'm working on that one. I'm about halfway, but it's a lot of work to write. Well, but I'm excited. Yeah.
Well, it seems like you definitely out to help people, and spread the love and all that good stuff, which is heck, that's tops. That's what you want to hear,
Well, exactly, because there's a lot of skeptics in the world, and that's okay.
Yeah, of course. I mean,
it's okay, but I try not to waste my time on skeptics, because like I said, it's not my responsibility to change a belief system,
right?
And when I think back about what a lot of people thought the earth was flat and then they discovered it was round.
Right.
I mean, it's all about how you open yourself up, and you have to, have an open mind, and, some level of skepticism is very healthy, but you got to allow yourself to open up too. And,
do you think a day will ever come where we will hit that spiritual peak
I do. With all the crazy stuff going on in our world today,
Mm-hmm.
I meditated about that because, it does upset me too, like everybody. We feel like the human race is in trouble sometimes. And,
Yes.
and what I was told by my guides, they said, as people are leaving Earth and they're going to the other side, they're being taught more compassion and kindness, and they're being reborn with more abilities, and they're retaining a lot of the information that they were given on the other side.
Okay.
She said that's the only way our world is really going to change, is when, new spirits are being born with the same abilities I have or the same compassion. And it's not about, fighting all the time and killing all the time. It's more about helping one another and loving each other. And that's really what we're here to do. But people are getting wrapped up in religion and war. And it just, it hasn't been good here for a while, but it's going to get better over time. Probably we won't see it in our lifetime. It'll be our kids and their grandkids. But yeah, I believe the earth is going to become a more peaceful place eventually.
Yeah, that's interesting that you say that. I mean, people are coming back with more skill sets and retaining a lot of what they've learned before and bringing you to that level, to like you, maybe, to where you can, have the skills to see the other side and do more with it. So, whereas I can't do a darn thing. I'm still probably lower on the totem pole for learning, I guess, but who knows? I don't know.
Well, you have to live your life. And, I chose to embrace my abilities and do this life of service. So I had a true desire to do it. But, and that's why I'm glad that there's more shows like the Long Island Medium and so many others that are coming out, because I think it shines a light on it. And that I'm really happy about that, because it's not something that people are tricking people. I know skeptics try to say, you're a mentalist or you're doing cold readings. And I don't even know what some of that is. It's just, that's what people like to, try to say. But, the science, if people were to look at the science of like quantum mechanics and the string theory,
yes,
because, there's really science behind spirituality, and it proves how the energy exists, how it's vibrating, how it's being used, where the dimensions are, where we go after this conscious human physical journey.
Yes.
There's so many links in science to how our conscious survives after we die. So, when you dig into the science piece of it, you're putting emotional needs aside. We're not selling anything. We're not requiring people to do anything.
Right.
And that's just what I say. I say, to skeptics, how did we discover all of this science if life after death doesn't exist? Prove to me that it doesn't exist. Don't just ridicule me and say I'm tricking you. So that's important right there.
Oh, no, yeah, the science behind it. I think a lot of people don't. There's one thing that stands out, and I know it's ghost hunters, okay? I know it's a sensationalized show, and you got to watch what you believe in, and because it's entertainment. But early on in one of their episodes, when at the beginning when they actually were, not finding stuff all the time because they were actually doing investigations, they actually brought out the FLIR camera, and they were talking to a guy who was technically a psychic, and it was an older gentleman, and he was sticking around during the investigation in the house because they knew he could tap into things. And Jason Hawes sat down and started to talk with him. I don't know if you've ever seen the show or not, or this episode, but as they were pointing the FLIR towards the guy that was speaking, who had the psychic abilities, and Jason Hawes, there was a gigantic aura that kept building up around him, and as he was talking, and it kept building up, and he was trying to get a reading or thoughts from Jason, and he put his hand out just a little bit towards Jason, and you could see the whole aura just like kind of hit Jason and like envelop him. And you saw all of this on the FLIR camera, which shows, the change in temperature and heat and all of that. So
Right.
One of the most amazing pieces of footage that stick out in my mind, because it's raw footage, you can't,
Right.
I don't think there was any way they could really tamper with that.
Right.
And it just goes to show you that, there's something to all of that. And to be able to tap into somebody's physical energy and take something away is totally possible.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And I mean, that's how spirits get into our energy field and try to communicate messages to mediums. They step into our energy, and then we can feel them. We can hear them. We know their personality. Like, I knew your grandpa was kind of a witty guy.
Wow.
And and that's how it works. There's no trickery here. It's just, that's how it works.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm glad I got you on here to talk to you. That's for sure. And thanks
thanks
for being part of Paranormal Into the Night too.
Yeah.
It's a special group to me. I started it a year and a half ago, and it's grown. And I try to make it unique and different, and something people can come back to every day and see something different and new. So. So I'm glad you joined it, and I'm glad you came on and talked to me about everything. So,
yeah, well, thank you very much for inviting me on. I'm honored to talk to you about it as much as you would like.
Thank you so much. And I'll see you around in the group, and maybe one day I'll talk to you again soon. If anything comes up, feel free to put some of those links in, the group too. And I
will do that now, actually, when we're done.
Cool. Sounds awesome. And again, I appreciate it. And thank you, Wendy.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Bye, everybody.
Okay. Peace and love, and I'll talk to you later, Wendy.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye. Okay, there you go. Wendy Lucero, psychic medium. Oh my God, that was amazing. Man, to hear about my grandfather and grandma. See, it's things like that when you hit right on immediately. And my grandmother's name is not out there anywhere. To say it starts with a B, her name's Beatrice. Very, very interesting, Wendy. Very interesting. So, what can I say to you guys? Please, I'm doing this out of the love of the paranormal. Trying to spread the word, but hey, any kind of shares you guys can do, whether it be, tweeting, sharing in your own page. It's easy to click and share and, follow, especially on Spreaker too. Do the follow. There's so many things, I guess. I get it out there anyways. It's between iTunes. If you are on your tablet or your iPhones or smartphones or anything like that, look in I guess it's Apple, right? Because iTunes is only Apple product. So, but we are in iTunes, Paranormal Into the Night. And I'm going to end the show here. Just be sure to check in. I'll have a show tomorrow night, 11:30. James and Ito will be talking a little bit of demonology again. Then we're going to be veering off into some UFO stuff next week. And Bill Burns will be coming on too next Saturday, which will be really, really cool. I'm really looking forward to that. And everybody who came to Facebook Live and checked me out, thank you guys very much. Kathy, Verna, everybody in there. And Paranormal Into the Night. Stay spooky. Peace and love. And out to everybody.